revenge on his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a match where I feel like you have a Wesley who's such a great practical player with his time control. He doesn't get too wounded when he loses. He plays so quickly in every position. And then the hyper precision of Fabiano, and sometimes he'll just blow you off the board in the opening. It's a real clash of styles.
And include in that, Jen, just everything you said, the incredible opening prep of Fabiano. I mean, you know, I don't know whose prep is as good. I mean, Vichy, at the time he was world champion, a phenomenal prep. Magnus, his prep could be better, let's put it that way.
Has improved.
Fabiano's opening prep can just wipe a player off the board. So Wesley is certainly aware of that, as they've played each other quite a number of times, and they're underway.
That's right. And it's not just the prep, obviously. Fabiano known as potentially the best calculator in the world, and also just such fine technique when he's in form. So
Sure.
I'm fascinated to see who gets the upper hand on this match. You guys voted for Wesley in your predictions. I voted for Fabi, but this first game is going to tell us a lot about Fabi's form.
This is a pick.
Exactly.
Come on, let's be real. These two are so close in strength. Well, at least if you combine strengths, if you will. I think Wesley does have the nod in rapid chess. But wait, what are we seeing here?
We're seeing some serious preparation. Like, what on earth is going on?
Queen h4 check.
Huda, what?
Well, there's knight takes g3. So queen h4 I can't do, right? There's knight g3. Wait, no.
Why not? That looks like a basic tactical.
So queen h4, g3, knight takes g3, queen f2, there's knight f5.
Right.
Yes.
So
what's wrong with this?
Has Fabi gone deep
You gotta go deep
into the position and said, I'm going to sacrifice a pawn, an exchange, and I'm going to compromise my king, trap your queen.
Well, clearly in modern chess, that must be good. He must be winning. I mean, of course, I say that facetiously. Queen h4 looks like an absolute boss move. Again, this is worse than Levant's a5, a4, where you would tell your student not to play that way. This is, what are you, crazy? What, are you just blundering pieces? You don't know a standard tactical idea? What is this about? And he has to do it, in fact. It's not even like he has a choice.
Exactly. Let me just set the stage on that one. There's no choice here. The knight is under attack. You don't move the knight, I take it. End of story. If you do move the knight, well, the knight gets trapped immediately after h4 under even much worse circumstances. So Wesley is just taking a deep breath as he's saying, okay, my opponent has prepared some preparation for me, but nonetheless, I have to play queen h4 check. And he's done it, and they've gone right down this path.
Primrose path,
after dropping the exchange, and playing king f2, my original thought, actually Fabi played queen f2. And guys, this is some deep stuff.
Well, I know that when we had Alejandro on the air most recently in the Karen's Cup, he talked a lot about prep with Fabi and prep with other great players and the difference between Stockfish evals and AlphaZero evaluations, and about how at the top level, or Lila rather, is that's the one that the top players can use, the open source variation, not the one created by Google, AlphaZero. And that a lot of the times the top players were trying to search for inconsistencies between those two evaluations. And I gotta wonder if this is one of those examples. Because we can see by our analysis bar, which is Stockfish, by the way, that they don't like this position at all for white. I have a gut feeling that Fabi found some kind of discrepancy there, and that's what we're seeing on the board.
I love chess. I love fairy tale chess. I love exceptions to the rule. I love sacrificing pieces for compensation. All well and good. But you must analyze this very deeply. Get there. And we can see that this is some deep stuff that Fabi has analyzed. Wesley knows it. One of the things about Fabi, you guys know, it's not only that he's so well prepared, is that his novelties usually have bite. He just makes, I just make a different move. He makes moves and you go, you can do that? What? And right now, that's what's happening in this game. Who would have conceived of f3 as a great move in that position. F3, clearly a novelty. And the more this position goes, the more it's looking like white has very interesting play.
That's right. Right, Maurice, it's funny because version in the track often tells us when moves are novelty, and sometimes we're surprised we don't know the specific theory in a line. This one, I think we figured out that was a novelty.
Well, I tell you, I mean, kudos, seriously, kudos to Fabi, because back in the day, you know, we would have these imaginative, you know, rampages. And, you know, I got to tell you, if you reach this position, you know, 20 years, 40 years ago, without the aid of computers, you'd give up the ghost. You say, it's an interesting sacrifice, probably doesn't work. Let's see the mainline stuff. But Fabi has obviously put this into his chess engine. He's worked out some remarkable motifs, and you could just see he's playing a la tempo. In other words, I'm telling you, he's had this board at home in his home laboratory, and you're right, Maurice. You talk about bite. This is remarkable stuff, like really impressive.
Really astonishing.
I mean, I'm talking, I would like to save this for the World Championship match.
And he's playing instantly, guys. What do you mean? Clutch chess game one? Come on. This is where it needs to be done. But seriously, guys, Bishop G5.
And he didn't even take the exchange back. Wesley said, you can have my rook. And Fabi said, I don't want your rook. I'm going to put my king on the same file as your queen and rook.
And instantaneous moves, bullet chess mode from Fabiano. We know that this is something that Fabi likes to do to psychologically damage his opponents. This is stressful now for Wesley, seeing his opponent bang down all these moves. When he went 7-0 in the Sinquefield Cup, he said that after one of the games. I wanted to play immediately because I knew that it would rattle my opponent.
And indeed, if you look at the clock, he started with 10 minutes.
Wow.
He's at 11 minutes.
Wow.
They've already played 14, how many moves? 18 moves. King F2. Wow. He's gotten all the increment. He's basically just making moves a la tempo. Bing, bing, bing. And it is Wesley, who we know is super fast and is sitting now at 5:42 out the opening. Fabi would double his time this quickly. And finally, Wesley has played a move that wasn't in Fabi's database.
Fabi's actually paused to remember, because this is off his beaten track. I'm absolutely sure that Fabi was prepared for B6 and Bishop B7. Any natural move like that, Fabi had his answer ready. D5 takes C4 has actually caused him to
What about after Bishop takes C4, move B5, just attempting to get some quick development in? I guess the problem is after Bishop B5, Bishop B7, then you can take on F6, and suddenly my rook takes F3 idea.
Be careful, Bishop. But those you don't want to turn this game around going for material.
Okay, so after Bishop B7, would you do something else?
Well, Bishop B7, the threat. I mean, I don't know what else to do, but Bishop F6. Maybe there's he's taking on D4 immediately. I think he's trying to make sure white knows that the king is weak for the long term. You know what I like about your B5? It reminds me of a game, Anand Mamadira. Is it Zagreb?
By the way, Maurice, we have something very similar.
Yes, he has taken and played
B5. On
and
D4 and then B5.
That's the same thing Mamadira did in a game where he was getting killed by Anand. We were like, ooh, Anand. And then Mamadira went, you know what? I'm just gonna play B5. It's a sack, and I'm gonna go for play.
Well, yeah, I got the idea because Yaz was saying B6, and it's like, well, time is of essence, guys.
That's right. Let's get it going. Chop, chop. Right. No, just simple development. And I think Wesley was happy to see this happen because now he gets his play against the king on F2. And look at Fabi now slow down dramatically. The other game has begun, by the way. We have similar. similar type position to the first game in terms of its slowness of pace, but some more bite in that one as well. That's the other
the wrong game. Sorry.
Yeah, this is the game. And it looks like Levon is getting another decent position with the black pieces against this setup.
Yeah.
Levon looks okay.
For sure. All right. Sorry, we're witnessing this incredible world-class preparation from Fabiano. Now I want to know the outcome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Was it good or was it bad? What's going on? I mean, wow.
I love B5.
B5.
Sorry, I love B5. I absolutely love the move.
And now Fabiano hasn't accepted this move yet, though. He has not played bishop takes b5 yet. He's thinking about the possibility of saying, no, I'll just drop my bishop back. What's going on in the line, by the way? I was just going to look at the same thing. Thank you, Yaz. Yeah, just the most straightforward line. Mm-hmm.
Right. I always, seriously, it's been a long, I always like to look at the captures first. You know, it's just a second nature for me. Like, if I can determine from a series of forced captures an outcome, that's terrific. Here, I don't know what is going on. I suspect that black has at least a draw. So I don't want to do this line.
This looks like death.
Right?
You're going to lose your bishop on D7, and you're going to be down 2 pawns with a fully exposed king. This position is
yeah, gotcha. Because he can't play king f1.
Right.
You're going to push it to a dark square eventually. Yeah.
I can't play king f1 because of this.
Rook f8 check, right?
Yes, precisely. That's a killer. And then I got to walk into whoops, checkmate. So okay, so it does mean that if Fabi takes the pawn on b5 and is met by bishop d7, then this threat is severe. Rook takes.
So you'd have to
f3
take on f6.
Well, again, I kind of just like to. I mean, the rook still isn't going anywhere. Like, I could drop back and say, okay, now I'm waiting for you to play. You know.
Okay, so I play it. Rook f8.
Yeah, and let's see. Again, I've got that covered. As long as this, the moment you play e5, then you're looking to escape with the rook.
Where do you have it covered? Takes on f3, rook takes 3, or something takes f3 and then just take again?
Takes f3, takes again. Okay, you just give up the exchange. That is good. True. That looks really good for black. So that does mean, how unfortunate. Okay, which brings us back to the current situation. Let's defer. Let's decline to capture on b5. Okay, so essentially it means that you did win the b5 move for free. Like, that's a really big tempo, right?
And rook f8 again?
Rook f8. I really want to make this work. If you crash through once more on f3,
we're crashing. We are crashing the vehicle, and it's going to be a tank when it hits f3.
Which way do you capture by
rook takes?
Rook takes. Okay, just a sec.
We're not giving you a chance to take on f6.
Okay, so there's a pawn going to be hanging, so I could. Well, here I'll tell you. Just what's going through my mind is some position where I get 2 pieces, but I just saw. Whoops. That's hurtful, and probably you also have other moves that are equally hurtful. Oh, here I have f6.
Fabi did capture on b5 after a long thing.
Yeah.
And then check this out. He, of course, bishop b7 came instantly, and he's back to a long think. And this is the worst feeling. I don't know if it's happened to you, Yaz. It's happened to me. And you know what would happen to me against? One Victor Korchnoi.
Ouch.
I blitzed out my prep against him, just blitzed it out. Bing,
right.
Bing, 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 bing. And Victor sat there, he walked into it. He walks completely into my preparation. And then he freezes. And I'm like, ooh, I got all this beautiful time on the lead. I got my prep on the board. And he sits there and he thinks and he thinks and he thinks. And then he plays a move I've never seen before. And the idea wasn't prepared for. The big edge on the clock just went doop, 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 and evaporated just like that. And then he proceeded to outplay me and give me a lesson. It's like, young man, it's not about the oaf, it's about who's the better player. Look at this position. We had 10:53 for Fabi when Wesley was down by the less than 6 minute mark. And now they're basically even on the clock. I mean, that's absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes you just got to tip your hat and say, Wesley, you know, like, look, Fabiano just caught Wesley. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, he just made some fantastic opening preparation. And Wesley, like your story with Victor Korchnoi there, Wesley just rolled with the punches, said, I'm with you, I'm with you. I see that, I see that.
And I'm sorry, after all this great prep, who do you like?
Exactly. I like black.
I like black all day.
I'm looking at the position and I'm saying, wait a minute. I mean, I'm not material down. I've got a fantastic square on D5 in the center of the board. Knight on G1. You've got a weakness on F3 that's truly, you know, a big target. This is not well.
King differential as well. And he's decided he's got such a good position that we were talking about king differential, and he said, I'm going to play H5.
Right. Really a nice move. I love this move because it basically says, hey, look, if you want to take on H5, give me a tempo on your queen, expose your king. I agree. And if you want to play G5 and allow me, you know, to come in and pay you some visit with knight to E3 or knight to F4, wow. I'm telling you, guys, this feels like Wesley has turned the tide completely.
No, this is I think White here needs to figure out a way to like trade pieces off the board, because the pieces for black are just so much more powerful at this point in our king safety. Like if I could play rook C1 and queen C7 or something, maybe I would feel a little bit more relief in my position. But you know, if I play G takes H5, you have knight takes H5 with tempo.
He did. At least what I'm saying on the board, he actually took and played queen G4. How can this be anything but fabulous for Wesley?
Exactly.
This got that one sliver of a board on F3.
Brutal when you actually use fabulous to determine, to describe Fabi's opponent's position. That's never fun, right? Because we usually use that adjective for Fabi.
Right. Well, let's start with the obvious. The knight on H5 centralizes itself with a check. Knight F4 check. Played. Incredibly powerful knight in the middle of the board. By the way, I agree that the queen and rook's power along the files are limited now. And I start looking to, you know, play a move like E5 so that I could open up my queen, take this pawn. Queen F6.
You're trying to get into that like second rank. Another idea is just to play rook C8, try to play rook C2 check. If you start invading with your majors or your tanks on the second row, or queen H7,
queen C7, same move, but queens will be mate when it happens, like some kind of Matutski.
I really like that move as well, Maurice, because it actually carries two really powerful punches. So you're threatening queen b6 with a double attack against the bishop. And yes, I do want to capture the pawn on d4, but also queen c2. So this looks terrible. I mean, and Wesley played the first move popped in my head, which is like, you know, you just want to get your queen in the game. By the way, e5, in my view, is also coming with also another, I don't want to say deadly, but you know, there is a king. There is a king.
And Fabiano Caruana, after having a devastating time advantage, Looks like he's now at still, what, even? Is that even on the clock, basically? 3 minutes and 18 seconds. He's got to save himself.
Wow.
Something awful. You prep like this, and the opponent just rolls with the punches, and now he's the one attacking with the black pieces coming out of the match. By the way, Magnus did win a pawn in his game against Levon. And we're looking at a position where his queen is slightly offside, but he has a pawn up. He is a pawn up. Levon looking to trade even more pieces. Is Levon's knight just going to be better than the bishop? Fantastically interesting position.
Okay, well, definitely keep an eye on that. But I hear you loud and clear with this. Sorry, let me find the game with Fabiano. I mean, it is so defeating when you get your prep on the board just as you've conceived it, and your opponent refutes all your great attempts. Is like, no. The most famous story that I absolutely love was a World Championship match game between Peter Leko and Vladimir Kramnik. Vladimir Kramnik had prepared novelty for the Marshal, and Peter Leko fell right into the preparation and went right down the line that Kramnik had prepared, and Peter Leko was winning at the end of the preparation. It was like the worst preparation ever.
And isn't that the origin story of the Marshal as well? That it was worked out and the very first game was a loss?
Right. Frank Marshall, he kept his novelty for over 8 years. And
we've been told there's a blunder alert.
Well,
92 was played.
And what a tactic.
And Bishop F3 will be winning.
And he's done it.
It has been played.
And it's now we have.
My word.
Now we just have what discovery is good here?
Any discovery is good.
God, any? That's not good.
That's really bad news. But let's pick one.
Oh my goodness.
Where are you going to go?
Queen is going to show up on F2.
Okay, well.
And actually, this is not even a game.
And he's played Queen B3 check. He hasn't even picked one of the discoveries, guys.
Oh no.
As now King to F2 is the only escape square. Well, okay, E4 as well. But if King F2, let's see. We could just even play something simple like Knight E2 check, Bishop King takes E2 and Queen B2 and just win all your pieces, right?
Just be a little careful. There's a Queen takes G6 check, right?
Okay, so we have to take
but where am I going with my King? King D3, I lose a piece with check. Oh, that's terrible.
Well, you could have also taken the bishop with check immediately and be up a pawn.
Yeah, exactly.
And then ask your king, where are you going? Because I can always fix my position. I can always defend G6 at some point, but woof, look at this attack.
And after King F2, there's probably also just some mate as well with like a discovered attack.
Yep.
So he did play King F2, by the way, so we'll find out. Is there a better move than Knight takes E2 that just leads to a mate? Like, I don't see like Knight H3
I wouldn't be surprised.
Or something.
I wouldn't be surprised, Jen. Oh, sorry, which move did you suggest?
Like Knight D3 or Knight H3? Let's see. One of the double checks. I don't want to block my queen off. That's why I was thinking H3, so I still had access to like the E3 square and everything.
I bet money he took on E2.
Well, he did play. He didn't do none of. Yeah, he didn't do.
He took on B5. I thought Wesley would play simple chess, but okay, simple chess indeed. He still took on B5. That's simple chess.
Exactly. That's pretty simple too. Keeping the pressure up.
Except King E1. King E1.
Now threatening to take on F4.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
again, Queen takes G6 is keeping white hopes alive.
But black's actually up material here. That's how sick it is. I mean, you're not only you're not only ahead in every piece being more powerful than your opponents, but you even have one extra pawn. Yeah, that must be music to your ears.
Oh yeah.
Did you see the way Yasser evaluated the position and just was like, okay, that means you're losing. Yasser win the weak king and the better pieces. Yasser's like, what? You mean you're down now? That was
Checkmate and a pawn.
Yeah, you guys were listing all the goodness that black's position held. Oh, and by the way, Yasser, you're a pawn up as well. What?
That was all Yasser needed to end. That ends the whole evaluation. We don't need to talk about it anymore. Well, This, by the way,
Sign
the
me
other
up
game
for that.
is very much drawing as Levon is taking over some of the space in that position. Looks like he should be fine, but we don't really care about that one as it hasn't been that sharp. Right here, we have pain on hand. What a counterattack on Queen to B2. Oof.
That's a
Look at
killer
that.
move.
Fabiano
And he
is
resigned.
devastated.
Yes.
And
Wow.
he resigned the
As
game.
so.
Oh boy, I said that this match would be close and that this first game would give us a lot of insight into Fabi's.
From London to Taiwan, I've been all around the globe, tried